Hi everyone, John from LookSmart Home Inspections right here in New Jersey. And today I want to talk to you about the use of infrared technology in home inspections and how it is evolved. And now it's easy for the home inspector to utilize this type of technology while performing their home inspections. And there really is no excuse now for a home inspector not to incorporate a compact infrared inspection camera like this into their home inspections. You can see how thin and small it is. In fact, you could just put this in your pocket or pouch, and then you're ready to go to scan the different rooms and different areas of the house. So it actually is quite easy. Back in the day, these cameras were bulky and large. I had one that you actually had to carry over your shoulder, and it was kind of obtrusive, and it made life a little bit more difficult. But now, with these compact cameras, it makes it actually very, very easy to incorporate infrared technology in home inspections. Well, why use an infrared camera during a home inspection? It's simple, because this camera or a camera like it can actually give us different layers of information that we would not be able to achieve or to view without using IR technology. It's not a catch-all. It's not going to catch every problem in a house, but used in conjunction with a thorough home inspection, it's going to add another layer of useful information so the home inspection client can have more information to make good informed decisions about the house that they're thinking about purchasing. Well, how does it work? The camera picks up different heat signatures from objects in a room. If you point it at a ceiling, a wall, every object has some measure of heat energy. So what the camera does is it picks up this heat energy. So take, for example, if I point this camera to a colder issue, say I'm pointing it at a window, that signature is going to come up as cool. In other words, a blue signature or a green signature of a cool color. But if I point this at a radiator or something hot, it's going to come up with a signature that's hot. It's going to be red or orange. So it's useful because it gives us an idea of what the surface temperature of objects or areas are. And as home inspectors, we can utilize the signature of these walls and ceilings and floors and electrical. We can use that to make inferences about what's going on. Now, one of the things a camera like this is good for is to find hidden water leaks. I've pointed this camera and I've worked areas and ceilings under bathrooms, and I've found water leaks that weren't visible to the naked eye. And that's something that's really powerful with infrared technology. Now, you have to know the difference between a potential water leak and, say, an air conditioning duct, because they'll basically look the same. However, if you're experienced and you can understand what the signature of, say, a water leak looks like, the camera can be very, very useful. Now, that water leak will come up as sort of like a blue haze, almost like a picture like what a cloud would look like, say, under a bathroom or another fixture like that under a tub or a shower. And so this is very useful. I like to utilize this camera after I run water at the fixtures in the home, especially the second floor or third floor bathrooms. I find that very, very useful. Also, I find it useful if there's a bathroom above a garage area. And this is useful for attempting, not all the time, but there are times when this is very helpful in finding those hidden water leaks. Now, certainly if you find a hidden water leak using an IR camera, you should utilize another means to verify, right? We just don't want to rely on this. We always want to verify that water leak does exist. And I personally like to use a moisture meter. So I use a moisture meter, whether I have to get on a ladder to get access to the ceiling or what have you. Using a moisture meter is just another way to confirm the findings of the infrared camera, because you're not going to use your moisture meter at every single area on a wall or a ceiling. But using an infrared camera allows you to scan and create a scan of the walls and the ceilings, the outer walls, the inner walls, the flooring of the home. And it gives you an idea of where to kind of pinpoint, where to use that moisture meter. So I find it very helpful in that way. So finding hidden water leaks is one of the great advantages of using IR technology in home inspections. Another thing an infrared camera is very, very good at, especially in the wintertime, you could also do it in the summer if there's a wide enough temperature differential between the outside air and inside, your subject house. But it's finding missing areas of insulation. And it's true, like as home inspectors, we're not doing energy audits. But you know what? If I can find large areas of missing insulation in a wall or ceiling, I think that's good information to give our customers. And I think it's very, very important to do that. So I find this camera and infrared technology very useful, especially in new build homes, because you're spending a lot of money on a new build home. And you want to make sure that the insulation is adequate, that it's well insulated. So many times I find walls and ceilings in new build homes that are not adequately insulated, where they just put the drywall up and, nobody would ever know that there's missing areas of insulation. I mean, big areas where you're going to experience a lot of heat loss in the home. And you would never know that if you didn't utilize an infrared camera. So I utilize that too, and I call out these areas of missing insulation all the time. Now, certainly it's not going to catch every area of missing insulation, but larger areas of missing insulation, it will definitely catch, provided that the temperature inside the home has a larger, what we call delta T, than the outside of the home. So there should be a larger difference between the inside air and the exterior air temperature to find these areas of missing insulation. But if that exists, and most time we can develop that in the house while we're there, either by utilizing the heating system or the air conditioning system, we can locate areas of missing insulation quite easily using IR technology. Another thing that is helpful during home inspections is to utilize the IR camera to scan electrical receptacles, the electrical panel box, and the wiring in the home for hotspots. So this is useful in determining if there's any arcing or hotspots. Now it's not going to catch arcing every single time. It's not going to catch every single hotspot. But you know what? It's certainly better to use it than not to use it. There's times when I found electrical receptacles or switches that were super, super hot. And that's something we need to have our client get an electrical contractor in to determine the cause of the issue. One of these problems recently was hotspots that had to do with aluminum wiring. And we all know that aluminum wiring can create arcing conditions in the wall. But if it wasn't for this IR camera, I wouldn't have found those electrical receptacles that were really, really hot. I've also found dimmer switches that were overly hot using IR technology. So it's not going to tell you everything regarding the electrical system in the home that you're inspecting, but it's certainly going to add another layer of information which I certainly think is useful. So really every home inspector in my mind should be utilizing this technology in their home inspections. I personally like to use these IR camera when I'm testing heating and air conditioning systems. Now, it's true, when you point this camera to, say, a register, which is putting out heating or air conditioning, this camera is really only going to tell you the surface temperature of that register. But it's useful information to have. Now, certainly I'm not checking air conditioning and heating only and solely with an IR camera, but it really helps. And it also helps to identify registers that are not clearly visible, that are under furniture or behind furniture, or under a bed. Camera comes in very useful for that. I like to do heating and air conditioning with it as a first line measure to make sure that all of the registers, all the radiators in the home are operating. Then I like to use the old-fashioned way with my hands, and I like to check the velocity of those air conditioning ducts or heating ducts, and also are the radiators getting hot to the touch? Because a radiator, after doing this for a while, you understand how hot a radiator should be. And if you want to back up your findings with an IR thermometer to do that, and I like to do that too, either use an IR thermometer or just a standard pocket thermometer, you can also back up your findings. But as a first line measure of testing heating and air conditioning, I find IR camera very, very useful in that respect. And I really do enjoy using it. And I think it just gives me a more information than if I wasn't using it. I also find the camera useful to detect air leakage around, say, windows and doors, because you're not really going to be able to see that with your naked eye. But an IR camera shows you right away, this window is leaky, that door is leaky. You know, we need to weather strip that door, and you might want to think about replacing this window because the temperature around that window is 20 degrees difference than the temperature in the home. So I find this useful too in finding and pinpointing air leaks. Now, it's true that we're not there to do that as home inspection, but in the course of using this camera and using IR technology, and if I find something like that, I'm going to let my client know. I'm just not going to keep it to myself. So those of us who utilize IR cameras can give you more information than home inspectors who simply do not use this technology. A few years back, there was a television show on HDTV who had a gentleman who used to call out home inspectors on what they missed on his program. Like, that was the whole premise of the program. And one of the things he utilized was an IR camera. And he made it almost seem like that camera could almost see through the walls, can find those hidden, latent defects that everybody was concerned with. Frankly, that's patently false. An IR camera can't see through walls. In fact, it just tells us differences in temperatures. So it's not an X-ray machine. So if you hire a home inspector who utilizes IR camera, there are certain limitations, certainly, to it. It's just another layer of information that we can provide you if we use IR technology. But I just want you to understand, it's not going to look through the ceilings and walls of your home. It's not going to find defects under carpeting or anything like that. It just tells us the difference in surface temperatures. It's super useful, but it does have its limitations for sure. Now, to use these cameras effectively, home inspectors should go to school to learn how to utilize these cameras. It's not something you just purchase and then you're an IR camera whiz, right? We're still learning. Every day is a learning experience in the home inspection profession. And that's why one of the reasons why I enjoy it so much is there's always something to learn every single day. But you have to go to school. You have to learn how to utilize these cameras so you understand the different thermal signatures that you're seeing. So you're not making the mistake of, hey, is that a water leak or is that just an air conditioning duct in the ceiling? Right? It can happen, right? That's a big mistake, and we don't really want those mistakes to happen. We want to give our customers the right information. So my advice to home inspectors who want to utilize IR cameras in their inspections is to go to school and to learn how to do that correctly. And then you'll be doing your customer a great service. And that's, without a doubt, definitely what I would recommend, without just purchasing one of these cameras and just going at it, because there is actually a lot to know. So there's my brief video about how IR cameras are useful in home inspections. I hope that you learned a little bit about it. So when you're interviewing home inspectors, one of the questions that you should ask is, hey, do you utilize infrared technology in your home inspections? And it's always beneficial to have that. It's not going to catch everything, but it certainly is important to have in the home inspector toolbox. So make sure you hire a home inspector who understands and utilizes infrared technology in their home inspections. So that's it for now. If I can answer any questions, it's John from LookSmart Home Inspections right here in New Jersey. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.